Woo! What an intro. What an intro. What? I've got a question, Jesse.
Yeah.
Whoa. Feedback. So basically, there's 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
Where do you find the time? Because every time I talk, huh?
I have no idea because nobody would guess what I did today. I was building a garden.
Every time I talk to you, you're either building a car, building a garden, pruning trees, replumbing your house, tinkering with something, building something, playing the guitars, and you've got a family and a job. You know, You're a founder. So, like, how do you do this in 24 hours? How did you build a garden?
And we go out, to movies on occasion, and we do stuff together. And like, we're just always busy, man. I wake up early in the morning, and I don't go to bed till late at night, and it's go, go, go the entire time.
So, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, do you ever hear his quote? You got to learn to sleep faster. If you want to be successful in life, you got to learn to sleep faster.
That's right.
What were you building? What was the garden?
So we have a greenhouse, and basically we got a bunch of those stones that you can put like 2x6s in between, and these stones kind of hold the 2x6s in place. And we built this like big retaining wall 4 feet out all the way around in a big horseshoe shape around this greenhouse. And then we loaded it full of dirt. I took the skid steer and was scooping fill dirt out of the back part of the property and filling it up. And then we had to put, weed cloth down and then some nice topsoil on top. And my wife's been putting in all sorts of different plants. Well,
that's the way to live life if you're in crypto, right? Do something else as well as found projects.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I see people like Corey Costa the other day. Corey Costa was like, I forget what he said, but it was, it's summertime. We shouldn't be in front of our computer all the time, just staring at the charts with nothing else to talk about. And I think I threw a tweet reply back at him like, well, it is summertime. You can go outside, get your mind off of all this. No one single person is going to change the outcome of any particular crypto, right? For one, we all kind of follow Bitcoin and ETH. On the other hand, it's nice to onboard some people from time to time. Even in my busy life, there's people, even family members, who say, hey, tell me more about crypto. How does it all work? What should I look out for, and what shouldn't I invest in, or maybe what might be a good investment? And I never offer like financial advice or tell somebody, oh, you should buy this coin because it's probably going to go up a lot. But I do tell them, the pros and the cons of different things and the risks and such. And I think everybody needs to do that, but also live your life while you do. In fact, living your life away from the computer gives you more opportunities to talk to people. You'd be amazed in my everyday life how many people say, oh, what do you do? And I say, well, it's kind of a financial sort of thing, lending and borrowing, and it's involved with crypto, and then they want to know more. They're like, oh, really? I always wanted to get into crypto. How does it work? So then you end up having a 30-minute conversation with some stranger, and giving them some website links, to your favorite chain or Pulse chain or whatever, and then that person's eventually going to come in and bring all their friends with them, right? But you got to live your life and get outside of the computer. The problem these computers is we can go on X all day long. We can go on Telegram all day long. I can come on this stream every weekend, right? And it's typically the same audience every single time for years. Okay. To reach new people, there's a couple ways to do that. You can try and infiltrate other Telegram rooms. That's very hard. You end up getting booted because, they don't like shills. You can go in Twitter Spaces. That can be effective if they're willing to let you talk. Okay. Sometimes the moment they hear that you want to talk about a Richard Hart product, they just mute you, right? So that can be difficult. Literally, what I found easier is just live your life. And people will end up inquiring what you do for a living. You tell them how to get involved.
I think that's some excellent advice, because not just for crypto, anything in life, right? Nobody likes to be sold to. And I think with crypto, whether we're talking about Bitcoin maxis, XRP, hexagons, right? They like to go out there and scream in people's faces, you need to buy this, and no one likes to be sold to. But what I've learned is, and obviously what you do is, a seed can be dropped. Oh yeah, I work in crypto or finance or something. And then it kind of plants a seed in someone's mind. And then they come and ask you, well, I've heard about this stuff. I want to learn more about it, right? It's so much more powerful because they're coming to you, where, as we know, if the more you push, right, against someone, oh, you got to look at this is going to be the next 1000x or whatever, it pushes people in the opposite direction. So I think there's multiple learnings here. Yes, computing and social media is good. We're on social media right now, but there's a limit, right? Getting outside, talking to real people, and also just by talking and circulating ideas, people come to you and ask, oh, what is this thing? What is Bitcoin? What is Ethereum? And obviously, by extension, Pulse Chain.
Yeah.
So
nobody likes to be sold to. That's a great phrase, because if you went out in the everyday world and you just tried to infiltrate a little group and give them a sales pitch, you're an outsider. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're just that weird guy that wants to sell them something. You're not one of them. You're not just hanging out. If you go to a car show or a museum or wherever, right, and you're just that guy with a brochure and business cards or pamphlets or whatever, you're literally second rate to them. You're like, oh, there's a sales guy there. He's the bottom of the barrel. We don't want anything to do with him. They don't want to even talk to you, right? But if you just show up and you're a normal person, right, and if you got a cool car, take your cool car out as often as possible. Okay. If you've got something to show for crypto, have fun with that thing. Literally just be normal. People will come to you. People will say, oh, this is cool. Or, hey, you're cool. Hey, how did you learn how to do this? Or, oh, you're into construction. You're building a garden. Like, what else do you do? Why are you building a garden? Well, you see, I don't only build gardens, but I got time to do this. What I normally do is, I'm involved in crypto. And they're like, oh, crypto, I heard about that. And literally just at that point, they've already formed a bond with you, and you give them, a pitch, but don't be aggressive with it. Make them almost feel like, I don't want to say that you're better than them, but make it seem like it's no big deal. Like it's no big deal. Make them want it. Make them want to come learn more from you, right? Mm-hmm. If you're out there and you look like a door-to-door salesman, nobody's going to want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Now, this is all from my experience. I've talked to countless people out in the real world about crypto and about Pulse Chain, just from being a normal, everyday guy.
I think I've seen the same. The more you push against it, and we've seen before in the past, right? A lot of people in crypto, they get very tribal, and they'll call anyone stupid who's not, who can't see the world from their point of view, like they've discovered the best way to look at the world. And yeah, it's not going to work. It needs to feel natural. And as we know, it doesn't work. It doesn't work shouting on X or shouting at people. So yeah, leading people towards something or showing them what could be a better a better version of legacy finance isn't going to come from calling people stupid. No one likes to feel dumb. No one likes to feel stupid. And we obviously Pulse Chain has got so many good things, all the projects on it and more that are building. We've got the SEC's just dropped the case. What do you think about Richard tweeting more? He's more active on X. What do you think about that?
I think it's important, that it's important to a lot of people, at least, that he have a presence. Okay, if he built a chain and then disappeared, a lot of people think, oh, that's not good. Now, on one hand, Satoshi did it, but nobody since Satoshi has been able to have massive success by just disappearing after they've built something. Okay, so showing that he still cares, that he himself is still building little things, I think that's good. And him talking about different protocols, I think that's also good. He can't build everything. In the early days, everyone said, "Oh, he's gonna build the stable coins, and he's gonna build the NFT platform, and he's gonna build this, and he's gonna build that, and he's just gonna build everything." If people understood how complicated it is, how much work involved in building everything, you would never want one guy to do all that. It's literally too much. You also want, each community brings their own ecosystem. Not everybody likes Richard, right? Not everybody who likes Pulse Chain likes Richard. Okay, so you do want other builders with their own communities, who are active with those communities, answering questions, helping them. You don't want everything to funnel through one guy with his handful of admins in Telegram answering questions. You want tons of different communities with all the help everyone can get, kind of spread out a little bit. Now, people will argue that takes away economic value from people buying Pulse if there's other coins. That could be true, maybe. Okay, if it depends on the protocol, right? You could argue that, like a lending protocol, for example, people buy Pulse, people buy PulseX or Ink or Hex, and then they lock it up, right? So is that taking away economic value? Not necessarily. And if people are earning rewards and fees from various things, and they're using that energy to buy the coins they like Richard's coins, well, you're not taking away any economic value, right? So it literally can go either way on that. What you don't want is a chain with only one coin on it. I mean, we might as well call ourselves, why would we even be here? We got Bitcoin for that.
Yeah.
Right? We want to have a lot of things on Pulse Chain.
Well, we do. And the good thing is, like and hate Richard Hart or the Richard Hart assets or the whole Pulse Chain community, there is, there's nothing like a hexagon and a pulsicon, and also the builders, right? People keep building regardless, whether it's us at PowerCity, whether it's Jexa, whether it's Midgard, whether it's Fast Abdul, and many, many more. People are building constantly on there. It's growing. Richard's back tweeting, or posting on X, and hopefully streaming at some point. But crypto as a macro, what are your thoughts this week? We've seen Bitcoin take a little bit of a pullback, but it's holding well above 100K, and Ethereum seems to be running a bit more.
I don't know what any of it's going to do long term. Have we had any giant news in the crypto sphere in the past week? Not a whole lot. So it's just doing its thing. It's just bouncing around in what some guys and gals would call the zone.
Yeah, we're trending sideways. I think, nothing major in the world has happened so far. We've got these tariffs on pause at the moment. And I guess people were hoping that the Ukraine-Russia thing would be wrapped up with Trump in power, but like the crypto markets, that seems to be dragging on. All you can do is keep learning. If you're a founder like yourself, and obviously like us at PowerCity, we keep building. obviously, we've built multiple dApps. We've got lending protocols, Flex, and we've got Amplifier, which sits on top of that. One of our first apps, which I think we want to highlight today, is POWERCITY Swap, right? Which
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about this again and give some people an overview of what POWERCITY Swap does, how it helps you to get between blockchains and especially into Pulse Chain.
Yeah. So there's 80-some blockchains out there, and surprisingly, a lot of folks, even in Pulse Chain, have assets spread across lots of different blockchains. A lot of people used to be involved in tons of different blockchains, and then now they're kind of centered on Pulse Chain. But then there's also a lot of people who still participate in all sorts of other blockchains. What's hard, though, is typically to go from one blockchain to another, you got to go through an exchange. And the whole not your keys, not your coins thing, right? You like if you want to go to Matic, right? Or you want to go to Base or something, and you have ETH, you can't just on the Ethereum chain swap your thing for the thing on Base, right? It's not possible. It's two different chains. Right? Now there may be wrap tokens. Maybe the liquidity is a little thin. Finding them can be a challenge. You got to find all sorts of contract addresses. Then you got to find the correct bridge. Hope that you're using the right one so that you don't use the wrong bridge that's just going to take your money. It can be very challenging to go from one chain to another. So on chain, completely on chain. So you have exchanges, and exchanges have coins on all these different chains. So you send your coins to an exchange, and you do a swap there. Okay, they take your crypto that you've already sent them, and they give you this other crypto on this other chain and allow you to send it out. And usually there's a lot of high fees for that, and there's risk involved because not your keys, not your coins. What POWERCITY Swap does is it scans the entire internet, looking at all these different blockchains, and it finds all the routes, the bridges to go from one chain to another. It finds all the different swapping platforms. And sometimes it takes a minute as it scans through all the available routes, but all you have to do is pick a coin that you currently have, choose a coin that you want on any other blockchain. It'll sit there and think for a second, and it'll show you all the different routes, and it'll show you all the different fees involved. It'll show you the risk factor, and allow you to simply select the route that you like, and it'll go through that bridge. It'll do that swap and go through that bridge for you, and your coins are on the other side on the other chain, right? You don't have to go hunting around for obscure bridges. This thing will find them all for you and just display them out to you, and you pick the one you want. Okay, it's like I wouldn't even call it an aggregator. I would call it a web crawler. It's just scouring the internet for all the available routes. It's brilliant. It's easy. You want to go from one place to another, or even swap on a single chain, stay on one chain, but you don't know what all the different dexes are. Okay, this thing will find them, and it'll display all the different rates that you might get for swapping one coin for another.
I mean, it's very handy. And talking about going back to our first topic, right? Talking about getting people into crypto. Crypto can be a little bit daunting when you get in at first. It sounds difficult, and even if you go on a centralized exchange, it can look like the inside of a spaceship. And especially when you're telling people to bridge across into different chains, getting into Pulse Chain, you've got to buy something on Ethereum and then bridge it across. So this really does make it really, really simple. I was telling you a story last week, actually, of a friend who used it, especially if you're in a country where you can use crypto to buy stuff, right? So if vendors are taking crypto, and for example, one vendor, a friend wanted to purchase something, the vendor only took, I think it was USDT on the Tron network, and he had some stuff on it, maybe Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain, and he used POWERCITY Swap to make that purchase of that item. Yeah. So very, very, very handy for multiple things, and of course getting into Pulse Chain. So if you're marketing Pulse Chain, you're talking to people about it, a easy way to get people in, right?
easy way to get people in.
It is. And at the moment, what is it? This has got over 60 plus blockchains you can hop between.
Say that again.
I think this has got over Portal Swap at the time of filming, over 60 plus blockchains.
Yeah, it might be up to 80 some by now.
Okay. And something crazy like 16,000 tokens. So yeah, the link is in the description, guys, for Portal Swap. Whether you're hopping between Pulse Chain or any other chains or marketing Pulse Chain and making it easy for people to get in. So, well, that's it. Pretty much, we're just talking about Portal Swap today. Markets going sideways. Jesse, anything else before we sign out today?
Yeah, we should have some bigger news in the coming week, hopefully, because we've wrapped up and decided to go forward with a launch on something very different from what you would typically see from us, but very entertaining and also rewarding, because rewards and fees flowing to the core are important to us. So just stay tuned, and we'll share that news with you.
Such a tease, but I'm sure we'll be back on here when it's live to let everyone know how it works. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Guys, for Portal Swap and any of the live PowerCity dApps, you can find the links in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.